really Netflix? Well, Netflix has once again decided to bring back the classic anime Death Note. This time, and once again, they're doing it in a live action format. This is despite the fact that the last time Netflix decided to do a live action version of Death Note, it was a massive flop. Well, my name is DJC Universe, and in this video, we're going to discuss why Netflix needs to stop with live action anime. Over the past couple of years, Netflix has tried to increase its presence in the world of anime, whether it be with new anime projects, which also often flop, or the topic of today's video, live action anime. I think there are several reasons that Netflix should just stop altogether, so I'm not even going to waste your time anymore. Let's just get into why Netflix should stop making live action anime. First, Netflix just doesn't seem to understand anime. I stated before that most anime projects greenlit by the company honestly are just trash. Now, of course, there are some exceptions like Violet Evergarden. However, there's still way too many misses. The shows the company puts out often feel like stereotypes of anime. They can have good premises, but often I find the storylines to be boring. The characters can be stale and often things just don't make sense. Like, for example, let's talk about Yasuke. The entire selling point of Yasuke was Yasuke himself, was his African-American soldier in Japan. However, when the show came out, he basically became a side character. This often extends into the live-action anime as well, as they take often regular story beats like they did in Death Note that people like, and they switch and they change them around. This problem often leads into my second point and another major reason that I have an issue with Netflix live-action adaptations, and that's because they're often corny. I've always been a firm believer that a reason most of these adaptations flop is because they try way too hard to make them similar to the anime, and it just doesn't fit our with. Anime as an art form is special, and often what makes it special is the fact that things are animated. You can do so much more with animation than you can do with special effects. Often I think they try to overcompensate that. So, for example, and I'll bring this up a couple times during the video, in the original Death Note, I felt like to supplant some of the animation things that you saw, they tried way too hard to make the character more relatable to an American audience. And their idea of an American audience, which is sad because they're technically an American company, was just wrong. Kira was nothing, and I mean nothing at all, like he was supposed to be. And that can be good in short bursts. For example, like sometimes a small change in a show can work. However, we don't want that. And just to be clear, it being animated isn't the only reason that it's corny. Hell, all you have to do is look at the Marvel universe right now to show that you can turn something, which in that case is comic books / any of the cartoon series that are very liked, into a live action show, and it can work. It can be done. The issue I have with the Netflix adaptations, and I kind of just alluded to it a little bit there talking about Kira, is that they strip everything away from the show that you like. I think Netflix struggles with the fact that these shows are written technically for Eastern audiences. They have Eastern ideology in them, and a lot of times the wording, it just sounds really weird. I kind of equate this to dub anime. Now, there are some dub anime that I do like, but oftentimes when I listen to the dub, it just sounds so weird. Like, things don't flow well, things don't make sense, and that's how a lot of these Netflix adaptations feel. They just feel like a bunch of actors acting terribly. Like, let's go back to Death Note. Lakeith Stanfield, he played L. He is a fantastic actor. He is a Oscar-nominated actor. He has two terrible Netflix adaptations. He's in Yasuke, where, to be fair, he sounded god-awful in Yasuke. And you know what? He was a terrible L. Let's just say it. He was nothing like L. And I remember after the first Death Note, I wanted to make an excuse for him, and I said, well, it's probably the script. And hell, it could still be the script. Or maybe it's just the fact that, you know what? This isn't meant to be live action. Like I said before, Netflix's struggles with trying to get that Eastern anime film into a live action form, it always shows itself in the final product. Look at the way they changed the characters around. Kira was a whiny brat and L was an idiot. Now, this could be Netflix just simply overthinking, but I think it's a bigger issue. And the fact is, live action anime don't work because they're not supposed to work. There's a reason that these shows were animated in the first place. There's a reason that these shows started off as manga. I don't think they translate to a Western audience well when you put a bunch of American actors in a show and then you have them speak in a format that just sounds stupid when it comes out of some American's mouth that's from like Kentucky. Moving on to my next point, Netflix literally just tried and failed with this exact same property. So why would I believe that they could be successful in any short period of time doing the exact same property? Yes, I know the show is being directed by the creators of Stranger Things. However, that doesn't mean that this will be a good show. Great directors are not immune from making a crappy show or a crappy movie. I also don't want Death Note to feel like Stranger Things. I feel like that would totally be off. If I want to see Stranger Things, I can go watch Stranger Things. I understand they aren't trying to do that, but sometimes with directors, they have a style and all their movies can kind of feel the same. If that is the style that these people have, it's not going to work for Death Note, and we're all just going to be upset again. I really would like to give them the benefit of the doubt, and some of you are probably going to disagree with me in all the points that I've made so far, but, and I just want you to hear me out here. If a person has never, and I mean never come through for you, which is Netflix, because none of you can name one good Netflix live action adaptation from an anime, you can never do it, why would I believe that you suddenly could? The optimist in me, yeah, I want to believe them, but if you've never been successful doing something, it would honestly be stupid of me to think that you could be successful to do that thing. All in all, I'm just a fan of the art form, and I love anime. One of the things that really gets me is the anime that they always pick are like classics, like Cowboy Bebop, Death Note, One Piece. I've heard they're making not Netflix, but there's a One Punch Man one that's gonna come out eventually. Netflix had the terrible Bleach one. They had the terrible Attack on Titan one. There's only so many times I think I can just watch you butcher my childhood in the name of making bucks for Hollywood, which is another thing. I don't understand how they can be making money off these shows. Don't get me wrong. I understand that Netflix is a massive company and they make a ton of money every single year and they pretty much can print dough, but they're not making any like extra money off these films. It's not like you pay extra to watch these movies. So Netflix is spending a pretty exorbitant amount on shows that no one even likes. I don't get what the benefit is. Maybe if they were good, then yeah, I would grow with you. But they aren't good, and I'm going to venture here to say that the new Death Note movie, whenever it comes out, is also going to be bad. My final point is this. I think that all these live-action adaptations, they reek of greed. And what I say that is, none of them need to be made. No one is asking for these things to be live action. So we go in, we already kind of have our expectations low. We already kind of don't want to see it. So you don't get any benefit of the doubt when the new viewer comes in to watch. We're going to pick it apart. And why wouldn't we pick it apart? We're not talking about smaller properties here. We're literally talking about Death Note, which for many people is one of a top 5, top 10. For a lot of people, the number 1 greatest anime of all time. And it should be nitpicked. You're talking about a classic. You're talking about something that 20 years later people still consider wonderful. Same thing with when they put out Cowboy Bebop. These things should be picked apart. As a viewer, we should not just accept anything that Netflix gives us and be happy. We should be skeptical. And you know what? When we are skeptical, we realize that this stuff sucks. It's terrible. They try to do these quick cash grabs to get us anime fans, but they always fail. And Netflix doesn't just fail with live action anime. As I've stated a couple times, they fail with regular anime as well. It's like they've noticed that in the last couple of years, there's been a rise in more of an acceptance of anime to mainstream culture, and they're trying to capitalize on it, and I get that. As any business person would do, I get it, it makes sense. But they're forgetting something important, and that's it needs to be good. You can't simply just, put a couple twists in there, change a couple stories around, and think that we're just going to be okay. All in all, I think Netflix would be better served leaving the live-action anime world alone completely. What they need to do instead is focus simply just on regular anime because they're not even hitting that out the park. I think if they put some time and some effort in, they could be able to make, I think, maybe decent anime. I don't know if it could be great. They've shown they've got the ability, to be fair. Violet Evergarden is really good. I know a lot of people that really like Baki. I'm pretty sure there's another show I'm forgetting. But still, it just seems like everything is so rushed. Like, they spend so much money on the animation budget, thinking that that'll get fans over. However, when you watch the show, the pacing's bad. The fights don't make sense a lot of the time. The characters are absolutely terrible. as anime fans, we're not going to stand for anything less than the best, and we should not. So if you're out there from Netflix, we need you to step your shit up. Stop giving us these half-ass products that you're just trying to get some quick bucks out of us because you know we like these shows. You know there's going to be some intrigue. Specifically, as a One Piece fan, man, I'm nervous about the adaptation. I am. I'm not going to go on a rant about that right now because this video is going to get a little bit longer than I wanted to. But these are just my beliefs. I'd love to hear from anybody down in the comments on the things that I've said. Just what your opinions are. Do you agree with me? Do you think that Netflix might be able to hit this out the park? And why do you think, if not, that they can't hit it out the park? Do you think any of my points line up with yours? If not, it's been great talking to you. I'm DJC Universe. I'd like to thank you guys all for listening to this video. Would love if you would like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to try to get you guys a video every single week now. It's been a blast. I love doing YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Peace.